Onside motherfucking kicking it. What's
What
poppin'?
up? What up? What up? What up? What up?
Nice to see y'all. Or I guess we can't see you, but nice to come and check us out. We appreciate you as always. Your boy AJ, sick as full.
Yes, sir.
It's your boy I am Ghost, of course, _AF. Find the handles below the screen. Anyways, long story short, man, we recapping week 4, man. Phenomenal week 4.
Yes,
We'll
sir.
start off with our Thursday night.
Yeah, before we get into it, if you guys can, please like our socials, Onside Kicking It, our YouTube, our TikTok, Instagram, everything. If you ever retweet, repost, like, bookmark, all that helps for our algorithm. So, and then we could see some organic growth. So we appreciate you guys and hopefully keep that traction moving forward. So let's get into a Thursday night game. And I think the biggest thing is I don't even want to make jokes, but just Tua going down, unfortunately, sad.
I was bothered, bro. Like, I was really sincerely bothered. Like, I looked at the game against the Bills, and I think we even talked about it on week 3, or week 3's episode. Tua got hit against the Bills. We did. You put a bet on the Dolphins.
Yeah, because I thought he was hurt.
Or you took the Bills in the second half thinking there's no way he comes out on that field.
Correct.
He got up. Some may say, oh, okay, yeah, he was heat exhaustion or back and ankle, whatever they chalked it up. But, bro, we've seen people's bells get rung before, man. He was definitely on he was loose, man. He was not okay.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of messed that one up. A lot of people are getting fired. A lot of, I guess, like the neurologist people, the doctors, medical doctors, they just really botched this one. So they have an investigation ongoing. And, I mean, the easy answer in week 3 was they said that he wasn't concussed, obviously, and that the way he took his hit, it messed up his motor skills. But
so, listen, each team has their own medical staff, right? And from what I've gathered, each game has independent neurologists, like independently paid
Correct.
by the NFL organization. Now, even if that particular person sees him, runs some tests, and he passes with flying colors, that's where I look at, like, bro, just look at the dude. He wasn't okay. Everyone's cramping up on the game. And then what bothered me, I was already tripped out when he returned. I think everyone was already tripped out when he returned in the second half. But short week of all weeks. And that's when it comes down to it, where you're like, yo, bro, you have to think, would he have been so fucked up had he not been concussed on Sunday against the Bills? Probably not. Maybe he gets up and he goes down a little bit like he did against the Bills. But, bro, that was sickening to see. It was sad. Obviously, the protocol is failing the players. You have to ask yourself, if it wasn't against the Bills and that wasn't for first place in the division, would he have came back out? If there was a big lead, would he have came back out? I have to say no, probably not. Now, a lot of people are hating on the Dolphins organization as a whole, but I don't know how it works. I don't know the ins and outs. If it's like, yo, no, Dolphins have to overlook him too, and they, I think dirt gets discovered.
I mean, we'll find out a lot after the investigation, and what I'm thinking is, I guess the neurologist has the first say to take him out of the game. He did say that he hurt his ankle and his shoulder, I think, which is why he fell from taking the hit. So the neurologist gave him the okay, and then it was up to the Dolphins medical staff to okay him to go back in for the next 2 games. So that was on the Dolphins, and it just really looked like they wanted him to get out there. And if you look at their line, let's just talk about Bridgewater a little bit. I think he's kind of capable. So if you do have some of these Miami receivers, Hill and Waddle, I think you still fire him up. They had Hill had a big game. Hill had 10 receptions, 160 yards. Waddle was a little slower with 2 receptions, 39 yards. It wasn't look like he was on the same page with Tua, but both these guys are good. Bridgewater's capable. I see those guys producing. This week for waiver wires, one of the top ads, if he's available in your league, is going to be Raheem Mostert, looking like he's getting all the carries and touches. They're obviously splitting time, and you don't know who's going to be that back, that third down back, the goal line back, but 15 carries, 69 yards compared to Edmonds' 5 carries for 6 yards, a little promising. So,
and it's been like this for the past few weeks. I mean, I got Chase on one of my squads. He's had 6 carries, 5 carries, 5 carries. The thing is he's clearly their goal line guy. So he had 2 touchdowns the week before. Last week he had a reception touchdown. Would have had 2 if he didn't drop a wide open one. it's definitely hard to trust the backfield at this point in time, because even if you roll with Mostert and he's putting up 15 carries and 85 yards, he might just get snagged for the touchdowns. Bridgewater's definitely capable, right? I mean, I do think that the receiving core takes a hit, but it's not something to be too overly concerned with. It's also short term, right? I mean, do we know a timetable on Tua? After the hit, I'm like, is he playing ever again?
He's out this week, but it's just, I guess, questionable moving forward. So we're not going to know.
So he's past everything, flying colors, I'm hearing, right?
There's no actual, I guess, a soft tissue injury, no damage to the spine, no damage to the neck. So I think he's okay other than the concussion. So I think they'll give him a little time. They'll be a little extra cautious with him bringing him back in. But if you could get, and Edmonds did get his receiving touchdown, 2 targets, I guess, 2 catches. So he's going to get in there. On the Bengals side, Joe Mixon, if you have him, you're starting him, but he's not really flattering. 24 carries for 61 yards. He did get in the end zone, so his stat line does look a lot better. Also 4 catches for 13 yards, so you have to start him. But
I mean, I think off sheer volume you have to, but you can't possibly be happy where you drafted him.
I mean, I think there's going to be better days for him to come. I think he's just going to pound it in. He's going to have the opposite of touchdown regression, where he's going to get in a bunch of touchdowns and a lot of opportunities. But with the volume he's getting, he's a must-start. Receivers, Jamar Chase, 4 for 81. He's a must-start.
Boyd, man, he's been
Boyd is doing his thing, 2 for 47. And what happened with T. Higgins? He was out this week, right? Higgins?
No, Higgins balled, no?
He balled, yeah. That's what I was.
Higgins I think he was the leading receiver of the day, no?
Let me check this out, because
no, Higgins, I can tell you right now, actually.
Oh yeah, sorry. Higgins was 7 for 124 and a touchdown. Yeah, and he looked amazing. They tried to put him in one-on-one coverage. The Dolphins thought they could lock him up one-on-one. He made him pay. He made him look kind of silly, actually. So it's a nice little bounce back bag for the Bengals. They're kind of one of those teams where they're hard to trust. They're just sitting there. They're beating the Dolphins, who just beat the Bills, but then they're losing to the Steelers. Just having all these bad games that started out. So I do see some good things coming from them, and them starting to get themselves a little bit together. Let's move on. We got the London game, Vikings and Saints.
I know another person that made the same mistake I made. I mean, obviously, no Thomas, no Kamara, no Winston. And, I had the Saints to win. I also had Kamara. I'm reading everything, and it's all systems look a go. Everything seems to be fine. And of all mornings, which I never oversleep, I wish I can sleep past 6:30 on any given day. But, of course, on that particular day, it was like the first day I slept past 6:30. I woke up at 6:45. Like, what?
0.
Fucking donut.
Yeah, I mean, into your defense, you did have Mark Ingram, and I don't think
6 points.
I don't think the points it wouldn't have made a difference. So it's a lot more devastating when what you did is the difference between a win or a loss. But looked like you were gonna get the L anyways.
That's what made me so mad, though. It's like I had Ingram, and it just ruined my day, bro. It just put a bitter taste in my mouth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Saints overall, though, man. What's going on? We got Thomas who's injured. We got Winston who's injured.
I guess my shot that I made earlier was not really looking good. Hill, yeah, with Winston inactive and
Ingram not really getting that much.
Yeah, Andy Dalton is the guy, 20 for 28. I mean, Hill was getting some second-team looks. He did get a touchdown. He rushed 5 times for 21 yards and a touchdown. So he's there, but is he touchdown dependent? Is he going to get more touches? Is he going to get less touches? I don't know. I think they obviously like Andy Dalton as the quarterback. So seeing Taysom Hill get all those quarterback touches out of your tight end slot is starting to look a little less and less realistic, as opposed to where now we got a sample size. We got Winston out, and
what's crazy too is, I mean, he started off as that QB. In fact, Cooper Rush was the last, most recently yesterday, first QB to start his career 4-0. Taysom Hill did that back in the day. So it trips me out that Taysom gets no love whatsoever from even being that starter. And I get he's more of a rumbler, bruiser, completely switched his identity when he got to the NFL. But the guy's capable of making some throws. Why not at least implement to keep the defense on the heels? I think they have to.
Yeah, I think they're trying to. I think he's more effective when you have a good quarterback out there. When you have Winston who can stretch the field and move the ball around, and then you go out there, it's a different look. But right now, their offense is going to be tough with Andy Dalton. So to just think that he's going to go out them and save them, it's kind of a one-dimensional offense, so they could kind of hone in a little bit.
Yeah, I agree with that.
The one player I do want to shout out is Chris Olave doing good, 4 for 67 with a touchdown. So we've been recommending getting that guy in your lineup. And if you have him and you're getting him in, especially with Michael Thomas out, he's starting to become a must-start with or without Winston. So he's doing that. On the Viking side,
Got some speed, man.
we got Justin Jefferson coming back to life with 10 for 147. Adam Thielen producing a little bit the last 2 weeks, 8 for 72. He could now potentially start going in that flex spot. Yeah, and a little bit of a concern for Dalvin Cook. He got 20 carries for 76 yards, but I think he's a little banged up. And Alexander Mattison is getting a lot of time and a lot of run. He vultured a reception TD, so it wasn't that rushing goal line work, but
I mean, Cook's got this separated shoulder he dealt with in the past. I don't know if it's like, they're just not getting that momentum going for him. But, man, even when I'm watching him, I made a comment in the group chat, and they're like, oh, maybe it's his different number. He just doesn't look the same to me. He doesn't look like that dude that just, like, bucks when he's not lowering the shoulder.
yeah.
Which makes sense considering the injury.
He probably has a hurt shoulder, makes sense. So, yeah, I mean, I just would monitor his health moving forward, and obviously Alexander Mattison, a premier handcuff if anything does happen to Dalvin Cook. Another game, we're going to move forward to the Browns and the Falcons. I think what's first thing we should touch base on is Cordell Patterson was put on IR today after a knee procedure. So there's going to be some carries to be spread around in that backfield. So Tyler Algier is going to be, the number one waiver wire from that team. Caleb Huntley, also another running back who could get some touches. So if you need some running back help in waiver wire, that's kind of where I'm leaning to as far as the Falcons go. As far as their receivers go, Kyle Pitts, is he even a thing, or is he?
Man, ever since last year, Kyle Pitts to me was like this guy that was supposed to be exceptional. And it's kind of like the Njoku effect. It's like they have all of the attributes and the ability to just ball out of control, but for some reason or another, in this case, Mariota just doesn't even look for him. It was one thing when Matt Ryan wasn't really, you know what I mean? But he's so sporadic. Man, the tight end game is fucked up right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to feel good about any tight end that you have, but Kyle Pitts, man, he's definitely for me. I mean, I would rather stream like a Tanyan or one of these flex tight ends that you get an opportunity to pick up in the flex, because
it's getting thinner and thinner every week. Yeah, but also just if you look at Mariota, he threw the ball 19 times, 7 for 19. That's a very, very low volume offense.
Low.
Yeah, there's no opportunity. 7 completions. 7 completions. Some guys have 7 completions
and that's
themselves.
In a winning game.
And that's a game they won.
They win.
Exactly. So Falcons looking like a tough team. The Browns are the Browns, but Nick Chubb, 19 for 118 with a touchdown, looking like a beast. Can't stop that guy. Kareem Hunt, kind of doing his thing, kind of just 10 for 49, 2 for 19 with the reception. So he's getting his 12 to 15 touches a game. It's a little hard to predict when he's going to fall in the end zone and kind of vulture those touchdowns from Chubb. But as of right now, Chubb looks like a clear 1A.
Agree.
But Hunt, you still got to keep him. And if anything does happen to Chubb, look for his value to catapult to the top 10. And then for their receiving too, Jacoby Brissett kind of did his thing. Njoku, 5 for 73. So people who went up and got Njoku. And that's about it, really.
Amari Cooper, man, he depressed me this week, man. You looked at him in the last couple of weeks, he's putting up almost 20 points from a fantasy perspective. He's getting 10 to 12 targets every single fucking game. I think my man finished with 1 catch off 3 targets and 9 yards, and they lost. Yeah,
it's hard to trust them, man. We've had the conversation with him and DJ Moore. They were just guys that,
you just look at Atlanta and you look at what receivers have done what against Atlanta as of lately. DK Metcalf just balled them up last week. I mean, every time Atlanta's playing, it's pretty much a shootout.
Yeah.
So that was where it kind of got me thrown for a loop. You figure matchup proof in a dome, no weather issues. He's clearly eyeing Amari. He's got, good chemistry with the guy, and he goes his way 3 times and they lose. I think this is a big bounce back game for Amari for that very reason.
I just think they just want to run the ball. That's what the Browns want to do. They just want to get behind their O-line, give the ball to Hunt, and give the ball to Chubb, and it's working for them. So with the backup quarterback getting some wins, they're looking okay. Next game, we got the Commanders and the Cowboys. Cooper Rush looking good, game managing. One thing I want to just start off with is Brian Robinson. If he's available in your league, make sure you pick him up. He was the guy who got shot multiple times, and now he's back. So he's not only a beast, he beat out Antonio Gibson in the preseason. So he was looking to take that role, and then obviously with the injury was set back.
Anything very hot anyway,
and Gibson's not doing anything anyway. So like we said, we talked about this Commander team. We talked about a low-volume offense. I went ahead and actually benched Terry McLaurin this week. I knew he was going to get shadowed by Diggs, so it was a tough matchup.
Sack Curtis Samuel.
Yeah, 2 for 15. No one did anything, really. Dotson, 3 for 43. Samuel, 4 for 38. Gibson, 13 for 49. Just a lackluster performance from the whole team. On the Cowboy side, CeeDee Lamb balled. He just showed that he doesn't need a quarterback to be trusted in your fantasy lineup. 6 for 97 with the touchdown. A little bit about their running game. How do you feel about Zeke and Tony Pollard? Zeke 19 for 49 and Pollard 8 for 6. Do you trust Zeke or are you higher on Pollard? What do you see?
I just made a trade. I got rid of Zeke in the trade. I don't trust the backfield at all. It's like you're almost hoping for an injury, which I just refuse to do. I don't like, if this guy goes down, I'll be all right. It makes me sick to my stomach even projecting that out there. So with Zeke, he's going to get the 15 carries, the bulk of it all. Pollard just last week prior had 103 yards rushing. I mean, at the end of the day, Pollard's clearly like the guy who is more explosive. Goal line, they're going to put Zeke in there. 4th and inches, they're going to put Zeke in there. 3rd and inches, they're going to put Zeke in there. So short yardage and goal line, obviously Zeke's going to vulture that, but Pollard's kind of left to get in those 20-yard chunk plays to get that touchdown off of it. So I can't trust either of them.
Yeah,
legitimately, I can't trust either of them.
I mean, if you got Zeke and you have a better starter than him, I could see you benching him. You're going to maybe throw him out for a flex, but yeah, Pollard does look like the better runner. It's just when is it going to be his time? That's what we don't know.
A lot of money paid to Zeke, man. I think they're going to ride him until the wheels fall off, you know?
Yeah, basically. So the next game, the highest scoring game of the week, we got Geno Smith putting up a 48 spot against the Lions 45 spot. On the late addition to the waivers last week, Jamal Williams with the injury coming up to DeAndre Swift. So it looks like Swift is going to be missing one more game until the bye. So if he is inactive, of course you got to start him. Hawkinson, ball looking like Gronk with long hair. He did his thing.
A couple weeks in a row too.
8 for 179 and 2 touchdowns. You need that production from your tight end. So if you get 8 for 179 and 2 touchdowns from your tight end, it's going to be hard to lose that week, right? So that was the thing. Another thing, Josh Reynolds stepped up in the absence of Amon St. Brown, and he actually did this in LA when Cooper Kupp tore his ACL. So with St. Brown out, Reynolds could actually get started as like a WR2 / flex. And then, obviously Williams. They got a lot of carries. Craig Reynolds, Justin Jackson got the touchdown, but I really wouldn't trust any of those guys other than Jamal Williams. And
Jamal Williams was a must start. I mean, I thought it was kind of incredible on the Seahawks side. DK Metcalf is 2 weeks in a row. He's putting up some aggressive ass numbers again. Rashad Penny to me was the actual stunner of it all, because Penny's always been this guy for the past couple of years where you're just thinking like, if he gets a chance to be the full-time guy, he's explosive, but a couple times he finally gets that role and he just struggles. 20 carries, 59 yards, it's like shit like that. So to see him kind of come out and ball out, I feel like it's his time. I'm kind of excited for that dude, man.
Yeah, I mean, he had 17 carries for 151 yards and 2 touchdowns. From a game perspective, I bet Lions money line on a couple parlays, and I also fired them second half when they were down. And that was just they covered the second half bet, which was great, but man, they were just running the ball down their throat and moving the ball. And I'm like, all right, here comes the stop, so the Lions could go ahead and get their thing going. But they just kept scoring. First time in Seahawks history that they scored 10 points or more in every quarter. DK Metcalf, 7 for 149. Geno Smith is trying to get some consideration as a streaming 2-league quarterback type of guy. I don't think he's there yet for me, but these last couple games, he's completing over 70% of his passes.
Man, with all due respect to Geno, it's so hard for me, man. Like, it was week 1. They beat Denver. That, rah. They try to write me off. I just didn't write back. Rah, and then they kind of went silent and lost 2 games back to back after that. So to do it against the Lions right now, to me, is just not enough for me to get too overzealous about the game that they played, in a sense. It's hard for me. You know what I mean? It's like, I guess if you have bye week and a quarterback, I can see maybe streaming him in there, I guess. I mean, anything's possible.
What about Metcalf? You think you're starting him week in, week out, or is he matchup guy?
I started him this week. I've been basing him off of matchups. I did start him last week as well. For me, it's more about matchup still, because you got to think about Geno, especially with Rashad Penny kind of stepping up lately. They don't need to throw the ball but 19 times in a game as well. And so, you think about the upside. Yeah, look, DK's getting 25% target share. And you would think on any squad, if you're getting a fourth of the passes thrown your way, yes, you have breakout potential. DCAF didn't even score, and he put up this, this amount of points. So, again, matchup, he's not matchup proof, no.
Yeah.
I don't think he's matchup proof yet.
So
I really don't. I think when Locke comes in, because I do think eventually that's what's going to happen. I think Geno will start to have some turnovers, get a little overzealous, and I think at one point or another they'll be forced to put in Locke and see what they can do.
I mean, with how good he's playing, I don't see any Locke coming in anytime soon. So
eight, 9, if they have a losing record by then.
I mean, I think if they started out really bad and they can get these wins, we could have that conversation. But right now, I think this is Geno's job to lose, and I don't really see him lose it anytime soon. Moving on to the next week, we got not next week. What am I saying? The Titans next game. Titans and the Colts. We got King Henry coming back, making his fantasy debut. Kind of slow this year.
I mean, last week he had a pretty decent week, but this week, yes, this week
22 for 114 and a touchdown, and also got a little bit of work out the backfield. 3 receptions for 33 yards. That's 2 weeks in a row he's involved in the passing game. So, if this is a trend that's going to continue, this is a really good trend and a lot of high upside for Derrick Henry moving forward. As far as the receivers go, Robert Woods came back to life, 4 for 30 and a touchdown. Nothing really special that stood out for me. I mean, that's kind of their offense. They had A.J. Brown. He's gone. I guess Robert Woods is that guy. You're not really trusting any of the skill players other than Derrick Henry.
No.
On the Colts side, kind of a...
JT's been all over the place. He might not play next week. I mean, I feel like there's just been a lack. I really thought Matt Ryan going to the Colts was going to be very Peyton Manning to the Broncos-ish. Maybe not win a ring, let's not get ahead of ourselves. But they've had such a good run game with Wentz. They've done these things with quarterbacks that are Jacoby Brissett. And so I really thought that
Phillip Rivers.
Phillip Rivers. This is what Matt Ryan needs. He needs a solid run game with a decent defense. They go out there, they fucking beat the Chiefs. Then they come back to the fucking Titans, who got blown out by the Bills, mind you. And they just fucking drop a dud again. I really don't know what to expect from the Colts. I think Hines is now relevant. Ironically, he tweeted maybe 3-4 days ago, maybe even 2 days ago. I think it might have been Sunday morning or Saturday night I read this tweet. Hines is like, yo, believe me, we really don't care about your fantasy numbers. That's what he tweeted. And I read some of the comments and I was like, yo, I mean, these people that go hard in fantasy football, me included, they were fucking pissed. Like, speak for yourself, showing images of other people like Eckler saying, hey, don't trip fantasy owners, I got you this week. They were fucking irate, rightfully so. And a lot of the comments were, guess what? Become relevant, and then maybe we'll actually care about your fantasy numbers.
Yeah.
And ironically, that next game, JT might not be playing next week. We got to watch him all week to find that out.
Yeah, I mean,
they're playing
on a short week. They're playing on Thursday, so it's going to be – we'll find out sooner, I guess, than later. Hines more of a scat back, catches passes, so –
let's not fuck this up. Hines has balled for fantasy owners in the place of JT before JT was JT.
Yeah. I mean, he's gotten those touches.
Went down, Hines came in and fucking beasted it.
Yeah.
Hines has won me weeks before. I actually like the dude, especially as a filler for Jonathan, if he's obviously not playing, right?
Yeah, so I would monitor that. I mean, I'm sure they'll call somebody else up to try to get some early down work and just so they don't run too far into the ground. Yeah. And then as far as the receivers go, Mo Alley Cox, tight end, He had 2 touchdowns, 6 receptions, 85 yards. I don't really think he's a thing. I'm not really high on my streamer radar. Michael Pittman Jr. is back, 3 for 31. A little bit of a slow game, but I do like him out there week to week getting a lot of targets. He's a target hog, so we'll see what happens. Anyways, all right, moving forward, we got the Bears and the Giants. First off, Saquon Barkley looking like the best running back in the NFL. I don't want to say in the NFL, but he does look like he's one of the best running backs. 31 carries, 146 yards.
Saquon's back, bro.
Saquon's back, right? He's top 3 running back, top 2, top 1, number
Saquon's
1.
Number-wise, I think he's number 2 for sure. If Chubb might be 1 right now, and I think he might be number 2.
But I like Saquon moving forward because there's no Kareem Hunt in the picture. Where Chubb, it's like any given moment he could just get vultured, or he could run the ball 90 yards up the field and they'll give him a breather.
I like Saquon over everyone for that reason. I mean, Saquon's also the type that's like CMC, where, you know, Christian McCaffrey, he might get 10 catches in a game if their script goes against them.
Yep.
So, I mean, yeah, Barkley, if you have him on any team, he's definitely your RB1 over everyone at this point, yeah.
Yeah, and as far as the receivers go for the Giants, kind of a just down performance. Daniel Jones, 8 for 13. Tyler Taylor, 1 for 3. On the opposite
Shepard
side,
goes down, and you know, I really thought Galloway. I don't know why, man. I keep thinking in the back of my mind, I don't have him on any of my teams, but I just feel like he's the guy that's going to just like all of a sudden be the guy that could potentially win you a fucking chip by stepping up and doing what Galladay did when he was actually on the Lions.
yeah, he's
The Matt Stafford.
no, he was supposed to be like Megatron, yeah, and he has the ability. He just, I don't know. I guess I don't know what it is, but I mean, these Giants receivers have been doing this for years now. The last good receivers was Odell and Victor Cruz, and since then they got no one. They got the little salsa dancing. That was kind of sick.
Put that on the map, man.
Yeah, that was kind of
short career.
That was kind of sick. On the Bears side, Khalil Herbert, 19 for 77. We knew he was going to be that guy with David Montgomery out. But again, not much passing volume for them. Daryl Mooney, 4 for 94. He was on some people's radar as like a WR3 flex. And if you're in a really deep league, I could see it, but
Maybe when the bye weeks start coming, there's teams like that. But
their volume is so low, and he's like, you even think he's going to get a touchdown. That's the problem. You know, you don't, like, I don't know, man. I just don't see any touchdowns from this team. Like, maybe on the ground, like, I feel most comfortable starting one of the running backs, or maybe Justin Fields getting some running work. But, yeah, other than that, I don't really want anything to do with that offense, man. So, the next game is actually 2 young teams that are kind of balling right now with the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Philadelphia Eagles. A little bit of disappointing on Jacksonville's end. I think it was game script and kind of matchup dependent. I think the Eagles have shown that they're a very dominating team on offense and defense. So I wouldn't take too much of it from the Jaguars' lack of production. They got that pick 6 early in the game, and just game script overall wasn't there for them.
you know, we say that, but it's hard for me to say this. So look, I have, as you know, I got Hurts on my squad. I also had James Robinson on another league. I figured they would get game scripted out. So I sat James Robinson in favor of Herbert, okay, which barely was a better decision, obviously, because of how bad Robinson played. But Herbert didn't play like I thought he would. But here's where it got me. The first series, Jalen Hurts, pick 6, 7-0. I look up, 14-0 Jags. So when we talk about being game scripted, bro, they were up 14-0 against the Eagles. And just every time they're running with this Robinson guy, and this is what my point to this is. It looked game scripted at the, once Eagles kind of stepped on the gas, they didn't really let them do too much after that first drive. So they had a pick 6, and their very first offensive drive, they scored a touchdown. I was like, finally, Hurts is going to be in a game, bro, where he has to fucking score. This is amazing. And Gainwell got in the end zone. Miles Sanders got in the end zone. Hurts, luckily, had a rushing touchdown to kind of salvage that portion of his day. But the Eagles' defense is underrated. They gave up shitload of points against the Lions week 1. And you're like, they're not that good. They're not that good. No. Bro, after settling down, they're putting it on some teams. Division game last week against Washington. This week, you take away the pick six from the Jags, and they had what, 14 points on the board?
Yeah, no,
I mean, that's dominating in my opinion.
they're good. All their guys are running. I mean, Jalen Hurts, even without any passing touchdowns, still salvages a day with that rushing touchdown.
Yep.
Miles Sanders has him a day, 27 carries, 134 with 2 touchdowns. I think it's pretty solid to say he's the guy who you want to be starting from that backfield. A.J. Brown, 5 for 95. He's constantly getting that work. Devontae Smith, kind of a no-show, but that's kind of where he is, either boom or bust. And Dallas Goedert doing his thing, 5 for 72. We love to see some tight end production with how hard it is in this league. So
yeah, Goddard's been a must start the whole time for me, man. I mean, I think they got chemistry now too, and I don't know, man. I think those two can win some chips. The way tight ends have been playing lately, bro. You get a combo like Hurts and Goddard. I think that's phenomenal. I'm curious to see Kittle tonight with Garoppolo.
yep.
I'm curious to see, because I think, this is the first game back last week, a little rusty. Garoppolo just got thrown into the mix. So I think this is a huge week against the Rams that we can start to see some shit there. We'll get into the Niners later.
Yeah, no problem. But one thing I want to say is when Philly did win the Super Bowl, I never expected it because they lost Wentz. But the truth of the matter is they're just a good overall team. And when they're good on both sides of the ball, anything is possible. And Jalen Hurts is probably an upgrade from Carson Wentz. And
100%.
Who won the quarterback? Case, no, it was...
You talking about the backup to...
The backup to Nick Foles. So I think, Jalen Hurts is probably an upgrade from those guys. So, so moving on. Next thing. I actually got something kind of funny I want to say.
Let me hear it.
So, I didn't know that George Pickens and Kenny Pickett were two different people.
Shut up.
I mean, I knew they were two different people, but I was always confused because that's why I'm like, Pickens obviously is the receiver. Yeah. He's a beast. Yes. He's going to be on the waiver wire. If you need some wide receiver help, get him.
Yes.
Pickett is the backup quarterback that they drafted. So I was kind of like, I've heard so much talk from those words. I wasn't sure if they're talking about Pickens or Pickett.
Yeah.
And so every time I kind of heard the name, I just glumped them into one category.
I've been saying pick to pick for 6 since before the season started. And everyone's like, no, Mitch is going to be the guy. Mitch is going to be the guy. I've been saying it. There's no way. I looked at our schedule, and I told my boy Sean, Dolphin fan, I said, yo, if we go 1-3, that's it. That means we probably lost 2 divisional road games. I'm telling you right now, we have the Bills, the Bucks, the Dolphins, then the Eagles. I mean, look, last week on the show, I said it too. I said,
we called it.
That's it, bro. I promise you. Because if we have one too many 3rd and 3 and outs against the Jets, that is, that's it, bro. We gotta get it. And that spark was there, bro. One thing I'll tell you about Pickett that a lot of people don't realize is he broke every Dan Marino record at the same school Dan Marino played in. And everybody thought the Steelers were going to be getting Dan Marino in the draft that year, and we passed on Dan Marino. Same stadium, the whole 9 yards, same shit. The Steelers weren't going to let that happen a second time. One thing about Pickett is what you'll see about him is he takes risks. He doesn't, it's like I keep saying to people, it's like the kid that's never really burned his hand yet. He don't give a shit, and he's going to keep giving it. His first possession, his first pass as an NFL quarterback was an interception. We all saw it. Sure, it might have been underthrown. People want to argue about this, that, and the other. But the truth is, it hit the palm, both palms of Chase. That didn't happen.
Yeah, it was a good throw. Twice. Yeah, it was a good throw.
It's not that it was a good throw or it was a bad throw. People want to justify this. To me, it's like, yo, if this is what we've been begging for. Mitch, just give him a chance. And that's exactly what Pickett did. He came in there, he fucking slung it. His rushing touchdowns, what did I tell you about when I told you before the Jets game? I said, Mitch has to be off our team. Why? Bro, he had a rushing touchdown that tied us 13-13 against the Browns. And he got up like a deer in headlights. His a lineman came up to him, they were headbutting him, bro, and he just sat there like staring. Bro, you see Pickett comes in, what do? 4th down and 1. 4th down and 1, Tomlin's like, run that shit.
Yeah.
Runs it, gets it. His 2 touchdown rushes, those were not fucking easy. This is the future of the franchise.
Yeah, he put his body on the line, and to see 2 rushing touchdowns is very encouraging. So that's the future for the Steelers.
People won't see the stat line. They're going to see 3 picks. You know what I mean? They're going to see his first, but guess what? Peyton Manning, good friend of his, threw 3 picks his first start. Ben Roethlisberger's first pass of his NFL career was an interception. Just saying, man. Can't judge a book by its cover. I think he's got the heart, the desire. I was hoping that for the 11 days on the mini bye week, he'd get some first team reps. That didn't happen, obviously. But now, it will. And I'm excited. I'm excited as fuck to see.
Yeah, I mean, Pickens looked good. I mean, the receiver, George Pickens, was making those one-handed catches, boss player. 6 for 102. Frymuth, Baby Gronk, 7 for 85. So some of those skill players looking like they're going to have some value now if they're going to be getting an upgrade at QB with Pickens. For the Jets side, Zach Wilson was quarterbacking the game off of his injury. I think the most noticeable thing is Breece Hall time, 17 for 66 and a touchdown. Michael Carter only getting 9 carries for 15. Also, the receivers, nothing really special. Chris Davis, 5 for 74, touchdown. Don't really think you could trust them. Conklin, 3 for 51 or 52 in the tight end position. Yeah. That's some decent production. With the lack of production from what we're getting from the tight ends, that's not bad. So
Wilson is underrated, man. I know he just came back from an injury. He's underrated in a sense where people are going to sleep on him for a little bit. But truth be told, bro, he's got great pocket awareness. You know, Highsmith was able to get to him one time. I think we had 1 sack the whole game. He has great pocket awareness. He took some chances, showed no fear, got a lot of people involved, albeit everyone had, low target share. But, I mean, man, I think I do see why they that's the future of the Jets, man. I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see him actually making them relevant at some point.
He moves well. Yeah, he moves well. He throws well, so that's a good thing. Let's go on to the next game. Bills and Ravens. Bills coming from behind. Let's see what you think about the Bills.
So obviously, 3.5 points was a lot. We both took the Ravens in this case. Look, Bills are the perfect package, right? They have swarming defense. They have rushing. They have receiving. I mean, bro, this is a game they won where Diggs didn't really produce like Diggs numbers. McKenzie, I mean, I look at the Bills and it's like if Singletary continues to start doing some shit, and making them actually have an offense that runs, I genuinely think that the Bills are the truth, bro. You look at what game they dropped this year against the Dolphins, that was a little bit hard to fucking, judge by that game. Division game. Definitely a trippy game. I look at the Ravens, though, most importantly, bro. And I think the Ravens are legitimately overrated at this point. I know that Lamar Jackson is a fucking beast. He's always going to be a beast. Some of his turnovers weren't even his fault. But the Ravens are not as good as people say they are. Their defense is suspect. I think they only held the Bills to 23 because of the weather itself. I don't think that was anything to do with their actual defense. But right now, man, let's face it, offense is kind of ruling the fucking league as we speak. Lamar Jackson, I mean, what were his numbers?
For fantasy, mediocre. 11 for 73 carrying, 20 for 29, 144 yards, a touchdown, 2 interceptions. So he did his thing for fantasy.
He can't throw less than 150 against teams like the Bills. I don't care about the weather. He's always been a more runner. Let's face it, his rushing is what's been so potent.
Yeah, of course. He's a running back.
Yeah, he's a running back, bro. Running back with an arm that can sling it from time to time. But I think that Ravens are overrated. I think Bills are still the team to beat, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've kind of hit the nail on the head with the Bills, where they're probably one of the best teams in the league, but they're going to be competitive against the top-tier teams. They're not going to just throttle someone like the Ravens. So if you take Ravens plus 3.5, you cover. They could have won the game.
Yeah.
So obviously Singletary is the guy out there. 11 for 49. Josh Allen's obviously the guy. You don't really want to have too much invested in their backfield. I think what really stood out to me was J.K. Dobbins for the Ravens. That guy looked like he's back from his injury. 13 carries for 41 yards, 4 catches for 22 yards, and an additional touchdown. So looking at him, I have J.K. Dobbins in one of my leagues, and I still didn't start him because I thought he was on snap count his first week back, and I thought he might still be on that snap count moving forward. It looks like they kind of unleashed him. So from here on out, it's kind of full systems go with J.K. So if you got him, start him.
I agree. I mean, it's hard to trust those backs back there, man, especially considering Lamar is the guy that's going to probably do these options and kind of take it. But J.K. Dobbins is definitely, his yards per carry is what's kind of impressive.
I think when J.K. is the guy, he does well, and I think when Gus Edwards is the guy, he does really well. So if one of those guys is getting those touches, I think they mesh well. They do really good with the zone read, and I think if there's that connection between Lamar and his running back, if he feels that he could give it to him, keep it, and the more of a connection they have, the better it is, obviously, for their offense. The last 1 o'clock game was the Chargers and the Texans. And I'm going to start off with Justin Herbert, who's coming off a rib injury, and we're a little questionable about how he's going to be looking, but I think he looked pretty good. He was 27 for 39 with 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He didn't really run too much, 4 carries for -5 yards, so he's able to move a little bit. Eckler did his thing, 13 carries, 60 yards, 2 touchdowns, also got 6 catches for 49 yards and an additional touchdown, so Austin Eckler paying that first-round dividends.
I think he finally woke up and was like, "Yo, this is my role, and this is what I'm supposed to do."
Yeah,
but it's also
with Keenan Allen out. But Keenan Allen's out though, so they need someone to step up. Mike Williams, 7 for 121, and I want to mention the tight ends actually. Gerald Everett, he's on my team. I've been streaming him. He's performing as the top 10 tight end, 5 for 61 with the touchdown. I think that was his first touchdown of the year, maybe, and I think he's going to have more. And I think with Keenan Allen out, look for him to just be a target monster and target hog from that tight end position. So
clearly have some chemistry.
I'm just kind of interested to see what's going to happen when Keenan Allen's going to come back and he starts soaking up a lot of those targets. That's my only concern with him. But as long as Keenan Allen's out, must start for me. And on the Texans,
do we know how long Keenan's out for?
He had a setback. He was supposed to play this last week. He was doing individual drills, and I believe on Thursday he got the setback in practice and walked off the field. So it was a setback, I guess. So at this point, I prefer they proceed with caution and give him a couple weeks off. I don't even mind putting him on the IR, let him get those 3-4 weeks, and let him come back healthy. It's very hard to trust someone who's coming off soft tissue injuries and re-aggravating it, and it just
seems like it's been just repeatedly. I feel like when's the last time he's played a full season?
The funny thing is,
2 years?
like the first 3 or 4 years, he had these like crazy fluky injuries. Like he had like a spleen snapped his ACL on one thing. So he's been having some fluke injuries. He's usually pretty durable, other than these like one-off long injuries where he'll play through, sore this, sore that. So this is one of these first soft tissue injuries I've seen from him because he's had major issues. But so he's getting a little bit older, someone a little bit more fragile, I would have to say. On the Texans side, I don't think there's really much to talk about other than Dameon Pierce. He was the only running back to receive a carry in that game, which is pretty promising from fantasy perspective. So if he's the only guy touching the ball in the backfield, you want that guy.
It's just game script, man. It's just like, when can they ever establish a run?
Never. But it's volume, though. If he's going to get all the touches, then you want him, especially if you're looking for an RB2/flex. So 14 carries, 131 yards and a touchdown. He did look good. He looked good. And that's why it's promising. Obviously, it's going to be game script dependent.
No, he definitely looked good.
But, yeah. So, all right. Next game. My least favorite player versus my lock of the week. And we're talking about Kyler Murray and Baker Mayfield. So, first of all, I was watching the game with Muggy yesterday, and he kept telling me how much he loves Baker Mayfield. He's like, "Oh, I love Baker. I love Baker. Baker's going to win a Super Bowl before his career's over." And I laughed. I said, "With what team? How?" He's like, "Oh, no, they're going to win." I said, "No, dude." But anyways, Cardinals, my lock of the week. They're down at halftime, loaded up on them second half, got the double covered for the game, cover second half. Even threw a parlay in them for the second half to the over, and they single-handedly covered the over themselves. So
I think that they are a second-half squad. They've proven it all fucking year. They're the only team that hasn't scored a touchdown in the first 4 quarters of all 4 games.
Yeah, they haven't scored any points in the first
0
quarter.
points.
So, yeah, but they are a second-half team. So if they're in it and they're competitive and they're down, look to fire them at halftime, because that's 2 weeks in a row that not only do they cover the second half line, but they
Or not went outright.
They went outright and they covered the original line, but they're getting points, so it's just a double cover and they're winning. So that's promising when you're betting on that team. As far as the position players, James Conner, 15 for 55. They're kind of spreading the ball out a little bit. Eno Benjamin getting 5 for 36. Darrell Williams, 4 for 19. So I think it has a little bit to do with his health.
Yeah, I think once James, I think this was his last week where they kind of, even Kingsbury, the coach, he's bringing it up a lot where he's like, we got to get him more involved. We got to get him more involved. To me, this is the best setup for a Conner. You could probably trade to get him super cheap right now, right? Not have to give up much to get him. And he's a candidate for not touchdown regression, like we just spoke about earlier. I mean, he had 18 touchdowns last year. He's gotten in the end zone one time, I believe, in week 1.
Yeah, and he catches balls. He runs his goal line. He's a good back, man. I love his story. As far as the receivers go, Marquise Brown, 6 for 88 with a phenomenal catch in the end zone. Love to see that. He's been stepping up in the absence of DeAndre Hopkins. I know a lot of people, with him moving to Arizona and being that long thread, and a lot of people were high on him, and he's showing that he could ball. Also, Zach Ertz, 6 for 47 in a touchdown. He was the last tight end off the board where he's got some value, and he's looking like a top 5 tight end. And in that role, in that system, he could definitely be a top 5 tight end with Kyle Murray quarterbacking.
And to be honest with you, I think all of them get that much better when D-Hop comes back. Because if you look at it, they can throw a lot of people, 1 over, 1 under on Hollywood. They can congest the middle, put more in the box to fuck with James Conner and, of course, Ertz coming through. So I think D-Hop comes back, and I think this is a whole different team. I think this team needs to just legitimately stay in games like they've been doing, because D-Hop comes back, and you'll see their offense do what they were doing last year, putting up 35+.
Yeah, and as far as the Carolina goes, the only person to really talk about, Christian McCaffrey, 8 carries for 27 yards, and then also doing it with his receptions, 9 receptions for 81 yards and a touchdown. So again, he was kind of injured coming into this week, but he got his full lot of snap minutes, and I think he's just a set-it-and-forget-it guy moving forward. Packers and Patriots. This game was like the fakest game ever. I don't even know how it was so close, man. I'm like this. I guess it was like a parlay buster. It was one of those ones where I just don't know. Like
Hoyer got the start, then this other guy, Zappy, came in and damn near beat Aaron Rodgers. He just beat the Bucks. I don't know, man.
I mean, let's just start with on the New England side. Both of those running backs looking good. Damon Harris, 18 for 86 and a touchdown. Ramondre Stevenson, 14 for 66, but also getting a little more involved in the passing game with 4 catches for 23 yards. So I think Ramondre Stevenson is kind of filling out his floor as like that back-end RB2/flex player. And if anything does happen to Harris, obviously he will be the guy. From the Green Bay side,
hate the back situation. It's like Aaron Jones, Dylan. Like, I hate that back situation.
They're both good.
Yeah, you could start them both. You have one of them, you're going to feel comfortable putting them in the flex. But it really took away from Aaron Jones's ability to really produce, because they're going to share that shit. 10+ carries each back's getting, no?
Yeah.
What was their stats on that?
16 carries for 110 for Jones, and 17 carries and 73 yards for.
17 carries.
Yeah, he got more carries. They want to give it. They want to give it to Dylan because he's bigger. He's the bruiser, you know.
I get it for sure. Thunder and Lightning 2.0.
Yeah, and as far as the receivers go, Allen Lazard is looking like the trusted vet. 6 receptions for 116 yards. The rookie Romeo Doubs is the guy I think that's going to start moving up and up on people's rankings week in and week out. He had 5 for 47 in a touchdown, and he also dropped another big, long touchdown as well, too. So look for him to be solidifying himself as that WR2 behind Allen Lazard and getting a lot of that slot work. I was really big on Christian Watson. He's the first rounder that they drafted, a wide receiver. He did rush one in this week, but his volume and his target share is not really up there. So I would lean more Romeo Doubs if you had to pick one of these younger receivers for Green Bay.
Definitely like Doubs. I definitely think we got to give him a little bit of time. Lazard just got back. You know what I mean? So maybe, just maybe, next week you can start to kind of look forward to him producing. Because Lazard, he had a pretty decent year last year.
He dropped one pass. If he didn't drop that pass, I mean, he's looking like he had a phenomenal game. 2 touchdowns. So, Pornhub? Who's got Pornhub? That's our unofficial sponsor. Unofficial. Where I spend all my free time out here.
This man said it ruined his life.
What are you doing on there? What are you watching?
Yikes.
What are you watching?
Yikes.
All right. And we got 2 more games. We got Broncos, Raiders. That was a fun divisional game. Let's start with the injury to Javonte Williams. He is done for the year. So, next man up. Melvin Gordon actually looked like he kind of got hurt as well, too. He does have a history with Russell Wilson. They played together in college. He's the obvious guy to go up next, but this week waiver wire is Mike Boone. He's going to be the guy you want to add. If Melvin Gordon is hurt, Mike Boone will get thrusted into that RB1 spot. As far as the receivers go, Courtland Sutton, I think he's my favorite receiver over Jerry Jeudy. 5 for 52 and a touchdown. Jerry Jeudy 4 for 53 and a touchdown. So very similar lines. If you're moving forward, who would you rather have on your team, Courtland Sutton or Jerry Jeudy?
We talked about this before. I think Judy's more explosive, but I've seen Sutton drop a lot of rocks, man. I've seen him just stone hand so many things before. I don't think either of them are like trustworthy to an extent. I go with Judy. If I had to make a choice, I would flex Judy out of the bunch.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like Sutton. I just like his big body. I think Russell likes to throw it up and just target him a little bit more. Obviously, Judy could stretch the field out, but I just think for consistent volume and targets, I would probably go Sutton. I think they have a little bit more of a connection. And on the Raiders side, Josh Jacobs, 28 carries, 144 yards, 2 touchdowns, balling out if you put him in your team and you started him. Also, Devontae Adams, 9 receptions for 101 yards, just week in, week out, set and forget it, WR1. Jacobs is where I'm a little bit more not sure if he's going to have this consistent production moving forward, but it's promising.
I've always been a fan of Josh Jacobs. We talked about this last week. I said, yo, man, Raiders are 0-3. Once they get gelling and they get to the point where they can start, producing as a whole, as a unit, that team is dangerous. Devontae Adams, ball hog. Renfro, he's back now, right? He's coming back this week.
Yep.
From his injury.
Well, I'm not sure actually, but yeah.
I believe he's supposed to be coming back next week. They got this guy Hollins that can, put in work. Obviously,
Matt Collins got nice hair.
Obviously, Waller's a beast.
Waller the baller.
From a standpoint, and Josh Jacobs from the rushing. I think Josh Jacobs does that much better though when they're in some games where they're up, bro.
Yeah, that was a much needed win for LV. 1-3 division game. Everyone's kind of in there. Chiefs are kind of running away with it. Actually, moving on to the last game of the night was Sunday Night Football. Chiefs and Bucks. I love the Chiefs. I'm not gonna lie. I hammered them +2. They just got the fumble, start the game, and then they just threw the touchdown to Kelsey right away. One thing I'm gonna say is, from the Chiefs side, Clyde Edwards-Helaire balling as the running back 1, but he's giving up a lot of his looks to the rookie Isaiah Pacheco and Jerick McKinnon. So a lot of people are saying sell high on him, ride it out. I'm not sure, but I think moving forward with that backfield, they're going to be looking to spread the ball around. They don't have a bell cow back that they want to give 30 touches to a game. So I think 19 is pretty high. Helaire, he had a reception TD and a rushing TD. Love to see that. Kelsey, 9 for 92 with a touchdown. The other receivers are kind of spreading it out. Juju, 5 for 46. And then on the Bucs side, we got
everyone returned.
Everyone returned. But question:
Julio Jones, Mike Evans.
Something happened to Fournette? Did he get hurt or?
Yeah, towards the end, he came back in the game ultimately. But yeah, there was a point in time where it was like the whole third quarter. He was pretty much had some type of ailment he was dealing with.
Yeah, so if there is an injury to Fournette, Rachaad White is going to be someone that you're going to look to add. Obviously,
the rock the whole time.
Tom loves Lenny. He loves his pass blocking. He loves him. But at the same time, if he's out, you're going to need someone back there. And I think Rachaad White is going to be that next man up. The receiving corps, Mike Evans, 8 for 103 with 2 touchdowns, balling out. Chris Godwin, 7 for 59. I think it was a good game back for Godwin coming off an injury. You were kind of didn't know how they were going to use him, if he was going to get a lot of work. I think he did look a little rusty. He didn't want to re-injure himself, and that kind of happens coming off of these injuries or coming back from these injuries. But it was promising to see him out there with no setbacks and no significant injuries. So I think moving forward, I think Evans is a start. I think Godwin is a start. And then
difficulties out here.
I don't know about Julio Jones. If I had a pick, I think I would go Russell Gage instead of Julio Jones, just because Julio Jones is such a boomer bust. You don't even know if he's going to be on the field, if he's going to get hurt. I don't think I can really trust the guy, to be honest. So I'm kind of leaning Russell Gage if you have to start one of those guys. And so, yeah, we got a little Monday Night Football tonight. We got the Rams and the Niners. That should be a good game. We got Jimmy Garoppolo quarterbacking, saying he's a little sore. Niners kind of have the Rams number, so I think it's going to be a tough game. I would probably lead Rams if I had to. Give me some points, but I'm not sure. And I would also want to see what's going to happen with the Rams backfield. Is Cam Akers back to being the guy, or is it going to be Darrell Henderson? Obviously, we know we got Cooper Kupp. He's a must start it, but what's going to happen with that backfield, I'm interested to see. Any thoughts on tonight's Monday Night Football game between the Rams and 49ers?
Yeah, man. I look at the Niners. Garoppolo, he's obviously coming back. He played last week, got thrown in the mix. Apparently, he didn't have a playbook for the longest period of time. And that's because he wasn't supposed to be on the team, right? So I think he's got to get acclimated like no other. I think they're going to be doing a lot of shit to kind of get him in there. But it's damn near the same team as it was last year. And let's face it, 2 out of the 3 games they played the Rams last year, they won, including in the, except for the one that counted, right, in the playoffs. So I think that they can steal a game tonight. I think that, when Elijah Mitchell comes off of IR, I think that's going to increase their chances. But this is also Kittle's second game, and I think that Kittle coming back with Garoppolo coming in, give them that extra week of timing and adjustments. I think that Debo. I think that the Niners can.
I'm kind of interested to see Brandon Ayuk's usage with Garoppolo. He's someone I think that kind of went up that next level with Garoppolo. So look for him to kind of be that clear WR1. I know Debo is the guy, but I feel like they're kind of using Debo more as like a gizmo gadget guy instead of a true WR1. So I think this kind of elevates Ayuk into a more trusting role as far as the wide receivers go. But yeah, that's going to be an interesting game tonight. A couple of things we got really quickly let's touch up before we go into our next week locks. Waiver wire, let's just hit it really quickly. There's a lot of injuries this week. So, from the running back, Brian Robinson coming back from injury. Obviously, he was shot. He's back. Mike Boone from the Broncos. If Melvin Gordon's hurt, look to slot him in as a high-volume running back. And then, obviously, if Raheem Mostert's available in your league, look to get him. Cordell Patterson on IR, so if you have Tyler Algier available, I would look to pick him up. Nyheim Hines, obviously, if Jonathan Taylor misses time. And then we got some elite handcuff in Isaiah Pacheco and KC, and Rachaad White if Lenny misses some time, but I think he's okay. And then, obviously, the wide receivers, George Pickens, like you said, Pickens to Pickens or pick to pick. And then Michael Gallup actually looking good in Dallas, even with Cooper Rush. But if Dak comes back and elevates that offense a little bit more, that's somebody that could provide some WR2 dividends. And a nice little QB that you could stream is Jared Goff. I think he's been looking very capable. I thought he was going to drop down a lot getting sent to Detroit, but he could actually sling the ball, and he could run an offense. So if you need a streamer.
I actually like Garoppolo as a streamer, thinking that same philosophy of him getting used to the playbook and what have you. I think he put up 240 points in our league last year. So, I could see him, he's careful with the ball. He definitely has winning personality, which puts him in good positions, right? He's a winner at the end of the day as far as record-wise goes. So, I think the Niners defense can put him in good positions, and I think you can get some decent play out of him too.
Okay, so now looking forward to the next week. Any games that you want to lock up? I mean, I think I should start because I think I'm 3-0 for my lock of the weeks. Yeah, I mean, first week it was, who was my first pick? It was Cardinals. No, it was Cardinals versus the Raiders. I got Cardinals plus 5.5 was my first lock.
Okay.
And then it was Falcons over the Seahawks. No, that was my first lock, and then it was Cardinals over the Raiders, and then again this week it was Cardinals again over Carolina on the road plus 1.5. So I'm 3 in a row. Obviously, I've been killing the second half bets. I'm not gonna lie, I've been just destroying it. Like every single second half team is covering it. And it's the algorithm. You guys know the algorithm. If you don't know, hit me up. I'll tell you about it a little bit more in detail. But if the favorite is down points at halftime, just go ahead and fire them plus points second half. And so my lock of the week is going to be a little, I don't want to say controversial, but I'm going to go up against the undefeated Eagles. And I actually like the Cardinals 5 points at home. I don't really see them winning this game, although they might at home because, like I said, the Eagles are a type of team where they're really good and they're going to throttle a lot of teams. But I see this game being very competitive. So give me 5 points. Give me the second half Cardinals. Obviously, if they go down at halftime, I'll fire them up second half as well too. But my lock of the week for sure is the Cardinals plus 5 at home against the Eagles.
Look, I'll be honest with you. I like that a lot. I think the Eagles have, in a sense, became the last undefeated team off default. Their strength of schedule is suspect. I mean, they played the Washington Commanders. They played the Detroit Lions. I don't hate that. One thing that concerns me with this particular pick in your choice is they're handling business every time, right? Does that mean that they're going to handle business against a team like the Cardinals? No, dude, I can see the Cardinals winning outright. If they win this game and they win by more than a touchdown, let's just say, then at that point we got to consider them the real deal.
I mean, they already are the real deal. Like, they're at the top of a lot of teams' power rankings. I mean, I think the Bills are clearly the number one team, even though they have some L's or one L. But Eagles are probably up there as well, so we're not discrediting the Eagles at all.
There's a lot of people though out there, not just you, but like a lot of people are like strength of schedule. Don't tell me until they play a good team. Strength of schedule. And so for me, I'm kind of with them. I'm like, yo, dude, I like the Eagles bias because obviously, you know, people are gonna start thinking I'm from Pittsburgh, bro. I like it. This one's not even on right now. It's all fucked up. I've gotten like 18 messages.
Oh, okay.
And if you guys can't hear me, man, I apologize. I'll speak super loud, and hopefully this mic will pick it up.
Pick it up in here.
Matter of fact, why don't we try this?
Just right in the middle.
Yeah. See if we can extend it, huh?
Yeah, try that.
That's good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, a lot of people are discrediting them for the simple fact their strength of schedule is suspect. It genuinely is. It's suspect. If they beat the Cardinals, which it's not saying much, but it is at the same token, right? You're on the road in AZ. You beat them by a touchdown or more, and now people can start possibly giving you a little bit of respect. But I do like that lock of the week. Believe it or not, my lock of the week is actually Dolphins and the Jets. I know it sounds crazy, but we know for sure Tua's most likely not playing.
Tua's out.
Tua's out. He's officially out?
Officially out.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, I got Jets plus 3 on that one.
Jets. I mean, I think Bridgewater is capable, and I think 3 is not a lot. Also, divisional game.
I watched the Jets play just this week, man. I don't know
about the Jets. They're either solid and they're going to put up a good game.
With Wilson in?
Or the Dolphins are just going to be the superior divisional team and just kind of big brother.
I'm going off of energy, right? Jets got their guy back. Dolphins don't have their guy. And I'm going off of the sheer energy of it. And they're at home, just had a game they won. They came back down by 10 points. It's going to give them some rally, kind of like how the Dolphins came back against the
The Bills? No.
No, it was
Bengals? No. They lost to the Bengals though.
It was week 2. Oh, the Ravens. They were down by 3 scores in the fourth quarter, and that same vibe and that same energy. I feel like it's the same situation in this case. I think the Jets actually fuck around and win this game.
They can. And one last thing I'm going to leave you guys with is my overall betting strategy. This was a tough week to pick the games, obviously. But what I usually do when I look for games is I try to focus on money line pick-em type matchups where you have two teams going up against each other, and they're basically a pick one, pick other. For example, Cardinals last week plus 1.5. Give me the 1.5 points. Obviously, I'll take them pick 'em. This week, there's not really any pick 'em games. The closest spread on the slate is Tennessee traveling to Washington minus 2.5. No pick 'ems. So if that's the case, I'm going to look for some value by getting points. I'm going to find a team that I think I can win, and then you're giving me points, whether it's a 3, 3.5, 4. Those are the type of games that I like doing because not only could they win the game outright, but they could go ahead and cover the spread, or they could be losing by a lot and then go ahead and backdoor cover the spread.
Yep.
So there's a lot of ways you could win. So just a little insight in my general betting strategies. I'm going to be looking for that pick-em game or give me the points. And this week, give me the 5 points with the Cardinals, and let's get that lock of the week. Keep running hot, baby.
You say keep coming, baby.
Hey, man, I'm betting, so I'm putting dollars in my pocket. You know, I don't want to be losing. So
Yeah, you know, this is definitely something that I can say. I witnessed it firsthand. My guy definitely has a strategy in play that works. One of the same things I like doing as well is, doesn't matter what the spread is. I like usually bigger spread games. If it's not going as planned, like for example, we have 14 points Buffalo, right? Steelers and Buffalo could be
Pickens gets a pick 6 and then it rushes a touchdown. They're up 14-0.
exactly. And you know, at halftime, you're looking at the game and you're like, yo, bro, there's no way the Steelers are going to win the game. You end up giving the points, but at the end of the day, you look at the overall spread. It's like, all right, now if the Bills win by 11, I cover, versus it having to take the original bet, having to win by 14 and you have to cover. So that's what I like to look at. I like to look at second halves for that reason, to see what the original spread was, because the lines are always on point, you know? Bills by 50. Hey, man, I ain't mad at you, bro. But don't underestimate my squad. Don't underestimate us. We got an X Factor wild card in picking.
Yeah, we got another good week, and now it's about week 5, so we're able to see how these team meshes, how these offenses are, how these defenses are. But I think that's a wrap for this week. Anything else you want to touch up on?
Nah, man, I'm actually excited, dude, for tonight, man. I think the Rams and the Niners is going to be a phenomenal game. I think it's going to come down to the wire. I also, for some reason or another, I think the Niners are going to upset the Rams, bro. I don't know why I have this weird-ass fucking feeling, but I think the Niners are going to upset the Rams.
You know, I probably would bet on the Rams, give me the points, but I know that the Niners play the Rams tough and they have their numbers. So
Always.
I see that happening.
Always. In the regular season, at least.
Yep. But also,
That's
again,
it, though, no?
That's it, guys. If you can, like the video, subscribe, get us on the socials, Onside Kicking It, like the videos, repost the videos, heart them, bookmark them. Anything you do shows love, helps us tremendously. Love hanging out with you guys. Love Onside Kicking It with you guys. We'll be back. Actually, I don't know, but we'll
Is this your last week before you go on vacay?
we'll see. I mean, I think you guys show me some love. Maybe I can hop in on thing. I'm gonna do some traveling, and I'll still be doing some videos and whatnot. So show some love. Like I said, be on the socials. I'm gonna try and make some fun, creative videos for you guys. So not know if I'm gonna be here for the actual week in, week out podcast for the next couple weeks, but I'll still be here in spirit and with the content. So please like. I don't know how much it means for us. It means so much when you like and you resubscribe and you repost everything you do.
Hey, shout out to Zeke real quick, man. Jay Bird, 7-3 Center, Parker Cooper. We appreciate you guys, Jim. We appreciate you guys showing love in the chat, man. It's always a lot more fun when you got people chatting and asking questions and just saying what up in general, because it be feeling lonely, like we're in some kind of pandemic all over again when we looking at this square and seeing a backwards image of ourselves. So we appreciate that, man. We appreciate you guys stopping in. For those of the people that are coming on and watching later and y'all can't just hit us up with the live chat, feel free to still put some questions on the YouTube channel, man. We can answer them for you. Social media is huge for us, you guys. Onside Kicking It. We have a Twitter, we have a TikTok, we have an Instagram. We also have our individual socials as well. If you guys ever have any questions about who to start, who to sit, those are things that I love doing and having those conversations and debates on who's worthy of getting a starting role. Also, favorites. What type of locks of the week that we like. Sometimes shit changes throughout the week, so always do not hesitate to call us, text us on all of our DMs. Hit us up, man. We like the engagement, man, but we appreciate it, man. That's it.
Appreciate all you guys. Love you guys, man.